Greetings, Richard Fulmer here, and welcome to another Richard's Rock Rambles. So I thought I'd have a change of scenery today, seeing as it's such a stunning day here in Cape Town. Sun shining, birds are singing, I'm talking about music. So I'm sitting here on our stoep, or porch if you like, and we're going to check out another two 40-year-old albums. And as I was done with the previous shows, very different styles of music, the two that I'm going to be mentioning. First one being the band who kind of come to the end of the road almost with their previous album called Drama. And talking about the band, yes, from the UK, progressive rock band. And they came back with this one, 90125. Not the most exciting cover ever. I think this one and the one afterwards, Big Generator, were pretty boring covers, but the music was anything but boring. This was a certain South African by the name of Trevor Rabin joining the band. In fact, they weren't going to call this Yes, but they got in John Anderson right at the end, so they changed it to Yes, and of course everything went right from there. Produced by Trevor Horn. Now, Trevor Horn actually sang for the band in the previous album Drama, but here he does the production work. So, let's see who else is in the band here. Very different sound for Yes, very much an 80s sound, but yeah, they did really well with this. So John Anderson on vocals, Chris Squire, bass guitars and vocals, he'd been there from the beginning. Trevor Rabin, guitars, keyboards and vocals, also did a lot of the songwriting. Alan White, drums, percussion and vocals, and Tony Kaye on keyboards. And Tony Kaye came back into the band. He was with Yes right at the beginning, I think, on their first two albums. So there's not much else I can show you here. That's just pretty much the lyrics. Hope the sun isn't too bright. Let's just see. What are the songs on here? Starts off with a track that... oh dear, there goes the camera. That's just the cat trying to get involved here. Sorry about that jumping. Owner of a Lonely Heart, huge hit for the band, big video, became a massive hit for them, a #1 hit, sold gazillions of copies. Hold On, It Can Happen, Changes, that's a fantastic track, very proggy, lots of time changes. Alan White really good on the drums. Trevor Rabin's guitar work is stellar. It's hot out here. And yeah, just a really cool track. Kind of reminiscent of older Yes, you know, that kind of very progressive style. Then you go on to side 2, Cinema, Leave It, another really cool track. Our Song, which has got some great vocal harmonies between John Anderson and Trevor Rabin. Their vocals kind of suited each other, especially in Owner of a Lonely Heart, where one guy did the choruses and the other guy did the verses, and then they'd sing together as well. Really well done. City of Love is the second last track on here. Really heavy riff from Trevor Rabin, almost metal-like. And it finishes off with the track Hearts. As I said, produced by Trevor Horn, 1983, all of 40 years ago. And I think this exact same lineup, John Anderson, Chris Squire, Trevor Rabin, Alan White and Tony Kaye would go on to do Big Generator, which didn't do as well as this album. But yeah. You either love this or you don't. If you're a lover of early Yes and the 70s stuff, this may not be your cup of tea. Very different drum sound, very electronic, very 80s. But yeah, I think this has got a lot going for it. So there we go. Yes, 90125. The second album we're going to chat about is, as I said, a very different style altogether. And this is a man who had a huge history in the 70s with his band Black Sabbath. And this would be his 1/2/3 solo album, Bark at the Moon. Ozzy Osbourne, there he is in all his makeup and glory there. His werewolf outfit. And there he is at the back as well. I think I've got this on CD as well, and I think that there's a difference in the track listing. There's some that were left on the vinyl that weren't on the CD, and vice versa. It's really hotting up now. So, who was in the band at this stage? I mean, Ozzy's band in the 80s would also chop and change, and you never quite knew who was in the band and who wasn't. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. That's Ozzy in the middle there with slightly shorter hair. That's Don Airey, who's the current Deep Purple keyboardist. That's the guitarist, Jake E. Lee. On bass is the great Bob Daisley. And there's Tommy Aldridge on drums, who I think the last band he was with was White Snake. And I think they've also just recently called it a day. And there you have the lyrics. Engineered by Max Norman, who also does some backing vocals. Recorded at Ridge Farm Studios. There's some strings arranged by Louis Clark. All songs written by Ozzy Osbourne, although I don't know if that's 100% true, because Bob Daisley did a lot of the writing for the first two albums, and I'm pretty sure he was involved in the writing on this one as well. Yeah, that's about it really. So let's see if there's anything here in the thanks. Not really. So what are the tracks on here? It's a kind of album that I'm trying to think. It's where would you put this in as sort of a top to bottom of his solo stuff? I reckon it'll be in my top 5. This is probably one of the last of the early albums that were really good. Later on he released No More Tears, which is another great album, but this one had a lot going for it. As I mentioned, there is a difference in the songs. I think on my CD, I think there was an American version and a UK version, which sometimes happened. Starts off with the Rock and Roll Rebel, which has got some great lyrics from Ozzy. I was trying to see, they think I worship the devil, they only see through his eyes, I'm just a rock and roll rebel. That's probably sticking it to the people out there who don't understand him, etc., etc. So that's Rock and Roll Rebel, and that was a big hit for him off this album. Then you get the title track, Bark at the Moon, which also very nice. Some great guitar work here from Jake E. Lee. And Jake E. Lee would last for this album and then The Ultimate Sin, the one that came out afterwards. And then he would also be booted out of the band. He obviously took over from the late Randy Rhoads, who passed away. And Diary of a Madman was his last album. You're No Different is the next track, with some really cool bass work from Bob Daisley. You know, Bob Daisley for me is one of those sort of underrated bassists. Played with Uriah Heep, was with a band called Widowmaker as well, and he did really well with Ozzy's band. Now You See It, Now You Don't, Forever. There's a track which is kind of like almost like a ballad, called So Tired. Not my favorite track on this album. Very sort of commercial. It's not a rocker, that's for sure. And the lyrics are a bit sort of twee and yeah. Then there's a track called Waiting for Darkness. And the last track on here is Spiders. Now I think Spiders doesn't appear on the CD that I have. And there's another track, I should have actually brought that out to show you as well. Anyway, that's the second album we're going to chat about today, Ozzy Osbourne's Bark at the Moon. Apparently it took him, I don't know how many hours to put that whole sort of makeup on and that stage set up there, and to get that look was quite a mission for him to get that whole thing done. And I would imagine to take it all off also quite a big job. There we go, guys. Richard Filmer here from the Stoop today. Quite bright. I don't know if I'll be doing this again. I might go back inside because from now on it's actually going to get a lot hotter here in Cape Town. Take it easy out there, please. Down below, give me any comments, good or bad. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, thumbs down if you didn't, and subscribe if you haven't yet. Have yourselves a fantastic week, and I'll catch you soon. Bye bye.